Tower of God surprised me. I went into this fully expecting something generic, something mostly about maybe just angst and drama and relationships, maybe some fighting here and there, but I never expected it to be as good as what I saw here. There's only 13 episodes in this, so I was let down. I had absolutely no idea what this was. It says Webtoon here. I've never been on Webtoons. I know about Webtoons, but I've never read a single thing on Webtoons. And then when I saw this, and I thought, alright, fine. I'll give it a look. And it surprised me. I was surprised. Right away from the first episode, I at first didn't really think too much of this kid. Bam is his name. I didn't really think too much of him. He was all obsessed with this girl named Rachel, who I also didn't think too much of. It took me at least until episode 2 to 3 to really catch on to the characters, especially once Kun gets introduced. That's when things really kick off for me. That's when things really get interesting. The supporting characters, the side characters, almost all of them are very interesting, and I want to know more about them. So I was hooked by episode 2 to 3 once more characters started getting introduced. Bam is one of those characters that takes a while for you to grow on him, but you kind of feel like one of the secondary characters meeting this guy, and the first impression at first you're like, who cares? And then by 3 or 4 episodes hanging out with him, suddenly you want to protect this guy. You want this guy to get his goal, man, because this is the type of naivete, the type of childlike innocence that dies in all of us curmudgeon-y, crusty older fogies who just wish that we could recapture that innocence that we used to have, that worldview that we used to have. We don't want that taken away, And so it grows on you. This guy kind of has this type of anime trope in characters, kind of like Shinji from Evangelion, Ganta from Dead Man Wonderland. Characters like that start out meek and mild and very innocent type of characters that get exposed to a lot of dark things. They get really put through the ringer, and you want to... And you get to see all of these supporting characters grow on this character and flock to him and want to protect this character from the harshness of reality, because we've seen all of the terrors, and sometimes we want somebody to not be terrified all of the time. So that's a really good plot synopsis. He doesn't really have too much of a personality by himself, all on his own. He's very much a reactive character, but then again, you know me, I'm a big Dragon Ball fan, and who's my favorite reactive character? That's right, it's Gohan. Gohan is one of the most reactive characters in the entirety of Shonen. He is very powerful as a plot device, as a plot MacGuffin. The kid gets very powerful when he gets mad, right? And that's kind of like how our character here, Bam, gets. When he gets mad, he will take action, especially when it comes to protecting somebody he cares about. He will take action when it comes to protecting people. He just moves instinctively like that. When a character launches a big attack at somebody he's kind of morally arguing with. He's arguing with this girl right here. I forget her name. She's one of the princesses. This is a big world building thing that if I were to try to actually talk about the lore of this thing, because I just found out about this thing. This manga, whatever it is on Webtoons, has about 600 chapters or whatever. That's okay. That's huge. It's huge. And this is only the first 13, okay? So it's huge. If I were to talk about this whole lore, I'd be here for hours. So I'm just going to talk about what I found in this first 13 episodes. And this character is one of the 13 princesses of Zahard, whatever the guy's name is. I think his original translation is Zahard, Z-A-H-A-R-D. I don't know why they changed that to Jahad, Jahad. Sometimes it's Jahard. It just depends on what language it's being translated into, I guess. But either way, she's not exactly a biological daughter of this King Jahad. She is more of like an adopted, chosen figure, very powerful. These 13 are very powerful people, and it's mostly like a gauntlet to see which one gets to be the best, and they're very much pitted against each other all the time. It's very deep, big storytelling at the time. But anyways, she is introduced as this very dark character who's very keen and very easy on killing people. And our Bam here, big moral integrity guy, says, hey man, you shouldn't have to do that. You shouldn't have to do that. No, betray your teammates and all that stuff. That's bad. And she gets so moved by the guy's innocence, by this character's innocence, that she actually starts to listen to him a little bit, because it's that type of innocence that gets killed off in everybody else, and they're very dark characters, and they see this innocence and they realize the people that they used to be before the world took that innocence from them. They see that in Bam, and they want to protect that in Bam. And even this character, this very curmudgeon-y person at the height of their moral arguments, when this other character decides to launch a very big attack onto this character, Bam just jumps in front of the attack and tanks it for her, just protects her right off the bat, even in the height of their disagreements. And you'd think that Bam and her would break their alliance right there, but Bam doesn't do that. Even if he morally disagrees with you, if you are on his side, he is going to treat you as a teammate. And that's respect, bro. Man, that's a big respect right there. I was very impressed with this. The animation style, the animation team behind this work here, it's very good. It's just fantastic. By the end of the 13th episode, I wanted more. I wanted more. I learned that there's a season 2 animated. It's already out. I think it finished by late last year. The final episode came out last year. And I looked at the anime. It's a different animation studio, which very much disappointed me. I come from a different time period, I guess, in that the time period that I come from, when we adapt an anime, a manga, when we adapt a manga to an anime, we do it consistently, right? We try to keep it the same group, the same thing, consistent going forward. One Piece is one of the last die-hard things. Like, Toei's been working on that thing for decades now. Dragon Ball has a design and look about it that has kept itself consistent based off Toriyama's art design from start to finish. And I've talked about how different animation studios worked on early Dragon Ball, but they tried to make it consistent with the other studios, making it all look like it came out of one studio. You can see subtle differences, but it still has that general shtick about it that makes it look like it's coming from a place of consistency from start to finish. When you have this, it's like you get when you do like it is nowadays, when we adapt one season, then we wait 4 or 5 years, and then another company, another studio does another season, it's going to look jarring. It's going to look very different. I can think of a bunch of other anime that I know of that did this. Full Metal Panic did this. A different studio picked up the next season a long time later, and then another studio picks up the next season another time skip later. It's like, maybe it's because the manga is ongoing. But that's how, if you ask me, if the manga was ongoing, Dragon Ball was ongoing as it was being animated. That's why they just animated it episode by episode in chunks of like 6 episodes at a time. And by the time they did all 6 of those episodes, 6 to 8 more chapters will have been drawn, and so they can have time to do the next 6, and then the next 6, and the next 6 in chunks of 6, very consistently in a conveyor belt method. And that's how I feel like a lot of anime should go back to doing. If the author takes a hiatus, you take a hiatus, but go and make your episodes on a cycle, on a scale, on a timetable that the manga author is doing it. So if the manga author makes a chapter every month, you make an episode every month. You keep yourself a couple chapters behind the mangaka, so he has time to take breaks and like all that stuff, and you have time to keep having a couple extra chunks of chapters to animate, to do your stuff with. That's just my personal opinion. It's just my personal opinion on how I feel like these things should go. It should be the same studio. Because season 2 looks completely different. It looks like it's a completely different show. It's a completely different. It's like it's a completely different anime. You know? I liked the aesthetic of this first season. I really liked this aesthetic. I really liked this animation. I like this color. I don't know why they changed it. I don't know why they changed studios. I don't know why this previous studio that worked on this did not want to work on it. Did they not want to work on it? Or did they want to work on it, but another company bought it? Who knows? I don't know. I don't feel like researching all of that crap. I just have my own scruples and pet peeves and 2 cents to talk about that and say, hey, if this company, whatever group animated these first 13 episodes, this group should have come back to do the next chapter, the next season. They should have come back to do the same season to keep it consistent, to keep it looking the same. That's just how I feel about it. Either way, I may watch season 2, but I am curious about these characters. I am absolutely curious about all of them. I want to know more. I want to see more of this world. It has some shticks and tropes that kind of grate on me. You know, like halfway through the season, they introduce this new shtick here that kind of feels video gamey. They have 5 roles that each character has to be placed into: fisherman, wave controller, and spearman or whatever. You know, each it's like roles in a video game, tactical role-playing game. You got your dragoon, you got your knight, you got your paladin, you got your bard, you got your black mage, you got your white mage. You know, it's like putting each character into a class, and that's just how they are. They can't grow and be different things. They can't be multi-classes. They can't just be their own person. You know, oh, this guy has a spear, he must be a spearman. It's... I don't get that, you know? I don't get that idea of bringing these 5 classes or roles into it. I don't know why they did that. And the pacing kind of took a halt, and they put things in a classroom setting. I thought this was some sort of big trial thing, but no, after the first trial, where they killed like 200 people, now the remaining people who have been called to even smaller groups, now this group of people, like 20 or so people, are now placed into a classroom where they get taught by these rankers, and I don't know what's going on there. That's kind of... So when I say I'm fascinated and very interested in this, I'm not saying that this is like this I'm not saying this is the Citizen Kane of anime, you know. I'm saying this is like RWBY. You know, RWBY, Monty Ooms, RWBY, the RWBY. It's a Western anime made by Rooster Teeth. And I don't think Rooster Teeth owns it anymore. I think Viz now owns it. Viz is actually the name on the spine here too. And so if you get Season 10 coming out on hard copy, when Season 10 of RWBY comes out on hard copy, you're going to see Viz on the spine now. You may even see Crunchyroll here. And yeah, I think this is on that scale, on the scale of RWBY. It's like a bunch of people who are not in some big official publishing house, this big studio, you know, they're not part of that. Rooster Teeth was this series of web series like Red vs. Blue and a bunch of other stuff that they made after that. After Red vs. Blue took off, then they made RWBY, which was a very big show, and I really liked that one. That was actually one of my favorite shows by them. It's actually one of the only shows I continued to watch from Rooster Teeth after they started to get a little bit stale for me. Not that they're bad, it's just RWBY was the only thing that was giving out content that I wanted to watch. I have up to Season 8 of RWBY. I still haven't found Season 9. They really need to release that one wide scale, not just put it on internet where you have to order it on the internet. Put it in a store. You know, I really miss when stores that you can, like, drive to. You drive to a store, you walk into the store, and the store has products on the shelves products that you could pick up off the shelf and say, hey, I feel like giving this a look. You take the product to the counter, the clerk, he rings it up and says, here you go, man. He puts it in a bag for you, and you take it home. I miss that. I do. I am one of those people who wants to go to a video store. I miss video stores. We should bring those back and make them, affordable. Not say, hey, this is $50 if you want this. No. Do it more like, hey, you know what? This is $5. If you want this, give me $5 for it. Do it like that. Maybe if something's brand new, maybe make it $20. But $50 for 13 episodes is a little bit steep. It's a little bit ludicrous. It's a little bit asinine. At least in my opinion, it is. Either way, Tower of God is fantastic. It surprised me on the level that Ruby surprised me when I first watched Ruby. Because Ruby was made by a bunch of animators in-house at Rooster Teeth, and they eventually made their own Rooster Teeth animation office, where these people were all just dedicated to animating Ruby on a yearly basis, and their talent improved with each subsequent year, each subsequent volume. Their animation got better and better, that by season 4, their quality really hit its peak, and I really enjoyed season 4 a lot. I think it's one of my favorite seasons, and yeah, I think this first season of Tower of God is on that scale. It's on that tier that Ruby was on. And just like I'm interested in Ruby and I want to keep seeing each subsequent volume, I don't think Ruby's one of the best stories, like, from a storytelling caliber. I don't think it's one of the best stories ever made, but I am fascinated by its world building. I am fascinated by its ideas. I am fascinated by its creativity. And that creativity, that world building, those ideas that are in this, I'm also fascinated by. I want to know more. I want to see more. I may actually read this on Webtoons. I never go to Webtoons. I may actually go to Webtoons and read this and actually get the full story. Well, I don't think it's complete, and that's going to bother me, but I'm going to at least read as much as I can, so at least I can get an idea of what this world is, because I am fascinated now.